Hello, I'm Helen Bach with the California Egg Commission, and I'm so pleased today to be able to introduce you to Howard Helmer. Howard represents the American Egg Board, and he's traveled to 5 out of 6 continents, making people smarter about eggs and egg products. Now, Howard's a man of many talents and accomplishments. As a matter of fact, Howard, I understand you're a Guinness World Record holder, and here's the medal to prove it.
Yep, Helen, and look, this is the certificate that they sent me, and I'm proud to show it to you because getting there wasn't easy. I'm the world's fastest omelet maker, but I also know a lot about eggs and egg products.
And now, enjoy Howard's presentation on omelets.
We're about to talk about my favorite subject, omelet making. And because I think it's the easiest dish to prepare in the kitchen. Not only that, I'm sure it's the most versatile dish in the kitchen. In the whole world, there is only one omelet recipe, and this is it. Try to remember. 2 eggs and 2 tablespoons of water. Got that? 2 eggs and 2 tablespoons of water. Did you get that? Yes. 2 eggs and 2 tablespoons of water. What is the universal omelet recipe?
2 eggs, 2 tablespoons of water.
That's correct. But 2 eggs and 2 tablespoons of water only makes 1 omelet. If you're making omelets for 4 or 5 people, you should never make 1 giant 10-egg gonzo omelet and, and then scrape it into 4 or 5 plates, because then all you're serving is scrambled eggs with stuff, An omelet is a nice, neat little package, 1 omelet for 1 person. So, say you are making omelets for 4 people, then what you do is in a big bowl you break 2 eggs and 2 tablespoons of water times 4 equals 8. Right, 8 eggs and 8 tablespoons of water. And you see, this is a standard kitchen soup ladle. Every kitchen in America has one of these. Well, I'm going to tell you something amazing about this ladle. When the first guy, whoever invented this thing, was thinking, how much should I make this ladle hold? It was like God said unto him, make the ladle hold 2 eggs and 2 tablespoons of water. What a break. So, if you're making omelets for 4 people and you have 8 eggs and 8 tablespoons of water in a standard kitchen soup ladle, ladle in your first omelet, 40 seconds later, out it goes onto the plate. Ladle in your second omelet, 40 seconds later, out it goes onto the plate. And your third and your fourth, and in 160 seconds flat, you have omelets for 4 people, and the cheese is scarcely beginning to melt in the first omelet by the time you're turning out the 3rd and 4th omelet. Any questions so far? Good. This is an omelet pan. It's an omelet pan because the sides are sloping, see, versus a frying pan where the sides are square to the bottom. And the reason is you're going to make this wonderful omelet, get it all done, and the omelet, it's imperative that this omelet go upside down on the plate, not slide out on the plate. Upside down on the plate. And I'll show you why in a minute. But for that reason, this pan, which is also a similar or called a saute pan, because the sides are sloped so that you could saute up the sides and over, this is the cheapest pan I could find. That's why I'm using this pan. This is a $10 frying pan. You could buy it in any supermarket. You could buy it in any discount store. But get it hot. How hot? So hot that it makes you nervous. Because, it's easy in a restaurant kitchen for professionals to keep their pans always on the stove, always hot, and move it to here and move it to there to control the temperature. But it's difficult to ask you in a consumer kitchen to take an empty pan, put it on the heat, put the heat on high, and let it sit there and get hot, empty, at least until you can feel the heat come up off the bottom when you put the palm of your hand at the lip of the pan. And now it's ready to go. But now, and I'll tell you why that's important in a minute, but now this pan is so hot that if I put in butter, it would scorch right away because, that's what happens, it turns black. So I have to use either margarine or olive oil or vegetable oil or something like that, but I'm using margarine today. And so here's my technique. I'm going to take a tablespoon of margarine, put it in the pan, kind of zhuzh it around. Then, quick before it burns, because my pan is so hot, 1 ladle full of egg, and when the cold egg hits the hot pan, it's going to burst into all of these bubbles and big bubbles and little bubbles all over the pan. And you know what that is? That's the water steaming and turning to steam and lightening up this omelet. And that's why I use water, not milk, because this pan is so hot that if I use milk, the protein fibers toughen and the egg lays dead, you know, at the bottom of the pan. But the water loves the heat. Let me turn this down just a little. It might be getting too hot. And so now, once I have all of my bubbles in my pan, with the spatula, you can use a fork some, go like this. This is la technique. Zhung. Got that? Here's la technique. Zhung. Zhung. Because when you zhung like this, you expose all this pan surface. What a fine place to cook the raw egg. Tilt the pan, the raw egg runs and cooks there. Fine. So I think I'll zhung a little at 9 o'clock and tilt. Zhung a little at 6 o'clock on the pan, zhung, tilt. And do that until the egg won't flow anymore. Or as I say, dig a hole and fill it up. Dig a hole and fill it up. Dig a hole and fill it up. And that whole procedure takes about 20 seconds. Let me show you. About a tablespoon of margarine is bad. Ooh, that is hot. Too hot, maybe. 2 eggs and 2 tablespoons of water right on top of that. And oh, I have these bubbles, my lightness and fluffiness with the spatula. Dig a hole and fill it up. 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 Let me know when about 20 seconds has elapsed. Okay, and so now the omelet is ready to fill. Now, wait, let me show you here. Now you look at this and you say, oh, yuck, it's all wet on top. But do I care if it's all wet on top? Please say no. No. Because I still have to fill this and fold it and turn it upside down. And so this will cook plenty. Besides, when you fold an omelet, it radiates so much heat from the top and bottom, enough heat to melt cheese, so certainly enough heat to cook this moist egg. Is there anyone here left-handed? Left-handed people? Ooh, please reverse everything I say from now on. I'm sorry. I'll tell you, when you go to fill your omelet now, find your navel and hold the handle of the pan right at the navel. And you know why that's important is because you're going to fill this and you're going to fold this and you're going to turn this upside down on the plate. Well, if the handle of the pan is off in some weird direction and you merrily fill this and you merrily fold this, how in the heck are you going to get it out of here? You know, like how do you do it? So if the handle of the pan is pointed right at you, it's a very simple procedure. All of the filling goes on the left side of the omelet as you're looking at. All of the filling goes on the left side, except for my left-handed friend, you put it on the right, okay? And I'm going to use, well, I've got 2 kinds of cheeses here. I have some cheddar and some jack. A little red pepper, you think, for color in here? Sure, all in here. I've got some ham and some mushrooms. All of it, you see, all of it is on one side of the omelet. Get this, especially now I fold the unfilled side on top of the filled side. Obviously, I'd have a heck of a time getting all of this stuff over there. The right side over the left side. The left side on the right side. Like this. Get the spatula all the way under and fold the omelet. And the omelet always folds, except when it doesn't. And when it doesn't fold, it tears. Well, this omelet didn't tear because it's been cooking so long now it's like leather. But say when you fold the omelet, it does tear. And so now look, this omelet has a big hole in it. Do I care if this omelet has a big hole in it? Please say no. No. What's so great about an omelet, no matter how you screw it up when you cook it, goes upside down, and that's why an omelet goes upside down on a plate. That's at least why my omelets go upside down on the plate. So I've got the handle of the pan in my right hand and a plate in the left hand, and then bloom, over it goes. Now, nobody needs to know the guts are spilling out underneath this omelet. You know, no one ever goes looking underneath their omelet. And at the fine hotel where I'm staying, they get $6.75 for this omelet. 7 1/4. let me go ahead and make another one or two, and we'll see if we can't pick up the pace, okay? Pan is hot. Let me make sure of that. One other thing I wanted to mention, you know, we were talking about water and milk, but there's a big difference between an omelet egg and a scrambled egg. And the difference is the water versus the milk. The French, I think when you look up the definition of an omelet, you'll find that classically, the main event in an omelet is the filling. It's what's inside. You never order an egg omelet. The egg is understood. It's ham, cheese, or mushrooms, or whatever it is. The French always thought then that since the filling is the main event, the egg should be light, fluffy, and invisible. So it's cooked fast over high heat with water. But when you make a scrambled egg, the egg is the main event. So it should be thick and rich and wonderful. So then you mix it with milk or half and half, and you cook it slowly over low heat with butter, and you stir it instead of manipulating it the way I've been doing until you come up with these large, wonderful curds of egg. So that's the difference between an omelet and a scrambled egg. Back I go to my frying pan, which has now come back up to temperature. Margarine in the pan, boy, that is hot. It's a tablespoon of margarine or a teaspoonful of oil if I was going to use vegetable oil or olive oil. I get this pan full of bubbles with my spatula, dig a hole and fill it up, dig a hole and fill it up. Just moving the spatula always to the center, you know what I mean? Not bloop, bloop, just little a half inch, or, you know, from around the perimeter, but big swoops. And again, only until the egg stops flowing, which is now, and that's about 20 seconds. I find my navel, I point the handle of the pan there, and in this omelet, I'm gonna put some yellow peppers and green peppers, my vegetarian omelet, some red peppers, some mushrooms. Here's what my omelet looks like. Spatula goes under, fold it, upside down. It happens so fast, you scarcely believe it. Always it works. There's nothing you can do to mess this up. It'll work for you every time. And I promise you, as simple as this looks is as simple as it is. We were talking about the different kinds of omelets. Here in the US, we've created what we call a Denver Western omelet. And let me show you how that goes. The difference actually between a Denver Western omelet is that you put all of the ingredients into the frying pan and start sauteing them, and then you put the egg on top, and all of the ingredients are embedded into the egg. The problem with making an omelet, and that's fine, and I have nothing against it, but like, what if I want to put in diced tomatoes? I can't put that in the pan. What if I want to use all of my 2 cheeses here? I can't put that in the pan. You know, it'll stick in the surface of the pan. So I'm going to ask you to do a little combination of both, and you can do it. Into the pan goes my margarine, oh, maybe a little more. And now I'm going to put in my ingredients. Here's my peppers. And what else am I going to put in here? Some ham. Okay, all of this. And now, even while this is frying, I can mix it up if I want to. I'm just going to put the egg right on top of that. And now I have a classic, I could put in some mushrooms, and now I've got a classic Denver Western omelet, but I'm going to proceed as if this was an ordinary French filled omelet. Dig a hole and fill it, dig a hole and fill it, all the way around like this. And this way, and this way. So, now, the omelet is ready to fill. Well, maybe one more turn. You see, the omelet is ready to fill. Now, if I want to, I could put in tomatoes, I could put in cheese, as I'm going to do. I've got my 2 cheeses here. Put those in here, like this. Fold, so here's what it looks like. Fold the omelet like this. And then turn this upside down in the plate. So now here's what I've got. I've got all of my raw vegetables kind of flash fried over the high heat that I did and embed it in the egg. But inside here, if I had tomatoes, my tomatoes would be steaming and my cheese is melting, you see. So now by preparing an omelet that way, I have what we call a confetti omelet, obviously, because of all of those flecks of color in it. And I think it's a wonderful presentation for a simple 2-egg omelet, because as you look at that, that's all we're dealing with here. 2 eggs and 2 tablespoons of water plus whatever is the filling. Now we're going to make one other kind of omelet, but actually what it is just like that Denver and Western thing was like a hybrid omelet between the French and the Denver Western. This one is more like a cross between a frittata and a French filled omelet. But instead of just folding it in half, I'm going to fold it in quarters, and there's a reason for that, and I'll get to it. But you make the omelet the very same way, into a very hot pan. I put my margarine, 2 eggs and 2 tablespoons of water on top of that. It bubbles right up. Take my spatula and move all of the egg from the outside of the pan to the center. I hope this isn't boring you now, because it's the same thing over and over. But so when you do this, you don't have to be as kind of frenetic as I am. You can do this more slowly and maybe take 60 seconds for your omelet instead of 40 seconds. That's okay. That's not much time. Dinner for 4 in 4 minutes instead of 160 seconds. The omelet is now ready to fill. Instead of putting the filling on one side, like I've done, I'm going to sprinkle it all over the top as if it was a frittata. Let me show you. Here goes my ham, and I have some more peppers here, and I'm going to put in some more. They have more. I love these peppers. And now I'm going to top it with my cheese, all this cheese all over the top. And so here I've got what starts out as a frittata. In other words, if I was going to make a frittata, what I would do now is take this to my broiler, run it under the broiler, just only long enough for the cheese to set, you know, all of the stuff. Then I would slide it out onto a plate instead of turning it upside down, and then cut it in wedges and serve it in wedges. But instead with this omelet, what I'm going to do is fold it the way I folded a normal omelet, like this, or the omelets as if that I'd been demonstrating. Then one more time, fold this one side over the other side so that I have essentially a wedge here, a wedge of egg, which I'm, just like the other omelets, going to turn upside down onto the plate. Why on earth would I want to prepare an omelet this way? Why would I want to fold it this way? Well, because the omelet's going to stay hotter 3 times longer because of the concentration of heat that's in this omelet versus folded in half. The concentration of heat is twice that it is in a folded omelet. Not only that, it's just an interesting presentation. And also when you cut into it, because you go through 4 layers of egg, when it gets on your fork and you put it in your mouth, it has an altogether different mouthfeel to it than does an omelet that you simply fold in half. I'm going to do an omelet now that's a 2-egg, 2 tablespoons of water omelet that serves 4 to 6 people. You make half of it in the kitchen. You take it to the dining room table where you fill it and you fold it and serve it right from the pan after you flamed it off with some brandy. And I call this my gourmet omelet because everybody's got a friend who's a gourmet. A gourmet is someone who's a better cook than you are. Or a guy unscrews a bottle of Mogan David wine and smells the plastic cap. That's a gourmet. Well, I have a friend who's a gourmet. Everybody has a friend who's a gourmet. So you invite that person over to dinner, and you prepare your best white tablecloth dinner. When dessert time comes, you say to your friend, the gourmet, "Excuse me, I got to go in the kitchen, get dessert. I'll be right back." And you go into the kitchen, and you put the fire under your omelet pan and bring back to the dining room table these things. So any kind of fresh fruit that's in season, but I'm going to use fruits that are always in season. Strawberries are always in season. This is a full pint of strawberries that's been just cut up chunky like, you know, that I'm going to put into this omelet. And I'm using a full pint because I'm serving 4 to 6 people with this. This comes to the dining room table. Kiwi, you can chop it up this way or you could simply slice it. These are 2 kiwis, the peeled and chopped. And then also bananas are always around, so I'm going to put in a banana, and because bananas have a peel. Oh, I'm sorry. So banana goes to the dining room table, like this. Maraschino cherries in red dye number 6. They go to the table. Some chopped walnuts or pecans. Put these back down. Some confectioner sugar. People don't like to think of eating sweet things with eggs. So the reason we're going to flame this off with the sweet brandy is because when the brandy will mix with the sugar in the hot pan, it's going to turn into a thick syrup that will glaze the egg. So you won't notice so much that you're eating, you know, like breakfast food, but people think as breakfast food. So this is my powdered sugar, down it goes, and some sour cream, because now this omelet is going to get so sweet that the sour cream cuts it nicely. Then here comes the sour cream to the dining room table. So now this is what your dining room table looks like, and this is what your friend the gourmet looks like. You know, because they were expecting green jello and bananas or something, what you always serve for dessert. So now you say to your friend, excuse me, I got to go in the kitchen and fix dessert. You run into the kitchen. Remember, you turned your fire on under your omelet. So your fire is on under your omelet, and make a 2 egg and 2 tablespoons of water omelet just to the point of filling it. Let me show you that. Here goes. And you remember how to do that. Into the hot pan goes the margarine. This is 2 eggs and 2 tablespoons of water, which will serve my 4 to 6 people dessert. With the spatula, just as if this was ham, cheese, and mushrooms, dig a hole and fill it up, dig a hole and fill it up all around the pan, like this. Moving the spatula to the center, as far to the center as you can. For about 20 seconds, I might cook this omelet just a little longer because I'm really going to abuse it. So now the omelet is ready to fill. And so I quickly take this to the dining room table. Depending on how quickly you work, this pan is so hot, often it retains the heat long enough so that you don't need any heat source once you get to the dining room table. There's sufficient heat to have the fumes and the alcohol evaporate when you add it to it in the brandy, and so that you can ignite it. If you're not confident enough yet, take it to the dining room table and put it on a sterno, and then start to fill it. Just like we always did our omelets, here go the strawberries. A whole pint of strawberries, and I'm just going to stack it on because I don't have to worry about turning this omelet upside down. Here goes the kiwi, 2 whole kiwis. Oh, wow. Oh, pardon my fingers. The banana. Let me slice that right here on top like this. Maraschino cherries, a few of those, just for color. Some chopped walnuts or pecans on top of this sucker. Then I will tilt this certainly to show my friend the gourmet how this is coming, who is sitting there going like this. Fold the omelet as best you can. How on earth are you going to fold such a thing as this? But pretend you're folding it, you know, this is how it's supposed to go. And then take the confectioner sugar and sprinkle it over the egg, because remember, it's the egg that we want to glaze, but I'm just going to sprinkle some all over everything. so that it looks like this. Then I'm going to take my brandy, and I'm using apricot flavored brandy, standard 70 proof apricot flavored brandy. You could use 80 or 90 proof Grand Marnier or something like that, but be sure you have an 18-foot ceiling. Otherwise, 70 proof is all you need, you know, to get a nice fire going in the pan. But as everybody knows, you should light your match before you pour the brandy on, because the alcohol is going to evaporate so quickly you won't have time to get the match done. Light it up, and now you baste this. Baste the flaming brandy over the sugar, because you want to make the syrup. But you know what? Use a spoon with a long handle so you don't smell the hair on your wrist burn. Wait. Let me go. Keep going. Keep it on here. There. And then when the flame goes out, the brandy keeps getting thicker and thicker. Now, I take my sour cream, because this is how it looks now, and cover up all of those craggles and things I don't like the looks of. It's like this. I'm going to pretty it up with this. And of course, you could use low-fat sour cream, but look how far you've come with this thing. There. And then a few more nuts on top. And a little strawberry garnish. Glunk, glunk, glunk. This is what your omelet looks like. And oh, I have to show you how thick this has become. See how thick and rich this brandy is? This is how your friend the gourmet looks. And you know your friend the gourmet, you have blown him or her away. And they say to you, I didn't know you could do that. And you say to her, well, honey, there's a lot of stuff you don't know that I can do. Now, you do not turn this upside down onto a plate, obviously. Instead, you serve it right from the pan to 4 or 5 guests. And this is your flaming dessert omelet, which you can make only after you've mastered the 2-egg, 2 tablespoons of water omelet with ham, cheese, and mushrooms, like I showed you. And that should take you about 40 seconds to master.
Hi everybody, I'm Steve, and this is my little pal Rodney.
Hi!
And we want to welcome you to All About Eggs.
From magic to market.
We're going to take you on a tour of how eggs get to the store, ready to be taken home.
And eaten. Yum, yum, yum.
But first, let's learn about the hens that produce all the eggs that we're going to see. Here we are at one of California's largest hatcheries for baby chicks. You can see the temperature and humidity is tightly controlled.
Why?
To ensure a healthy and fully developed baby chick, like these, in about 21 days from the day the egg was laid.
Only 21 days?
Yes, the egg will hatch in only 21 days. In fact, that one is about to hatch right now.
I see it, I see it. Look at the baby chick fighting to get out.
Yes, we all see it. After she has pushed her way out of the shell, she will spend the next few hours resting and drying off. Would you like to see her and some of her friends the next day?
Oh yes, I'd love to.
Here we are.